few buttons pressed and things kind of sorted out here. As you can see, I will be on Lamannia here today.
This is still someone else live, I think.
Yeah, it's going to take a few minutes for it to catch up. I'm sorry, what was that? Yar, I be talking in a... No, I can't actually talk in a pirate,
I would
so...
rather eat both of my hands.
Nice. Alright.
This is gonna be a no from me, dog.
Alright, hello everybody, and welcome to the weekly Wednesday at Lunchtime live stream here on twitch.tv/DDO stream, youtube.com/DungeonsandDragons/live, and facebook.com/DDO Unlimited. Thank you so much for being here. We are on Lamannia. We're going to be doing a spoiler light preview of Update 40, the new Night Revels stuff that is available on Lamannia. We'll be taking a look at the new Wood Elf. We'll talk a little bit about raid loot and cloaks. We'll also be talking a little bit about cloaks. Now, I have to admit, I'm rolling into this a little bit unprepared, as it were. I thought my Cordovan character would still be available, but unfortunately, that person was deleted from Lamannia as part of the update process. So I have to quick remake a character here while we talk. While we talk, let me actually say hello to Linabelle. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
All right, and the reason you are here is we wanted to talk a little bit about the new raid loot coming. So first off, yes, we do have a new raid coming in Update 40. Being worked on by Torque and such. It's not available for preview in this first Lamannia preview, but will be available, I believe, in a future preview here. So you'll actually be able to run the raid, but nonetheless, we wanted to get some feedback on the raid items, first of all. Now, there is a little bit of a spoiler inherent in these items themselves because it hints a little bit to what the raid is about. And I don't know that there's really any way to avoid that. If you've seen the raid loot thread, you'll know what I'm talking about. So, minor spoiler alert on the subject of the raid, but these are essentially updated versions of classic raid items, are they not?
Yes. The theme, as it were, that I was working with was time travel, or alternate timelines, and, you know, possible futures, possible pasts, and so approaching that as a rather open-ended prompt, and with the, you know, the only loot requirement being these are fun items people would want that are appropriately power leveled, what could I possibly make? And the answer was a whole bunch of what-if questions. What if this item were something else instead? What if it cared about this instead? What if it did this instead of what it does? And it should be kind of evident what these items are based off of, and they really have, I would say, the soul of the original design, but in a slightly different application, and hopefully opening up a little bit more individual synergies than what their original design had done. But some of them are a little tongue-in-cheek, and some of them are a little hard to guess what they are, but...
Well, one that we don't have to, like, a great example really is the Staff of Shadows. I mean,
yes.
It's kind of, you know, one of the most famous items in DDO is the Sword of Shadow, and this is the Staff of Shadow, and basically you hit that sword, you use that sword so much it became dull and stick-like. Is that, yeah?
More like, what if the best melee weapon in the game were a quarterstaff rather than a greatsword? You know, something that is so numerically, uniquely, incredibly overpowered. What if it were a quarterstaff instead?
Nice.
And also, what didn't make it into this preview, but I actually don't think it made the item notes too, but I posted about it. It is literally indestructible. It won't take durability damage. I just put some 9s in where there should have been other smaller numbers, you know? Yeah. They're like, number from 1 to 10, and I was like, nah, 700, you know, whatever. That'll probably not break anything. But, yeah, just...
Now, it's a high-level item, so for those who are like, well, I guess I'm never going to need, Muckbane again. Well, you will, because this is a high-level item here, right? So
yeah, level 29. And quarterstaves are kind of niche anyway. Like, there are very clear build choices around them. So it might not be better for your barbarian rather than using like a great axe or something. But if you're a quarterstaff user that wants to hit people with a quarterstaff, this is the numeric best quarterstaff by a significant margin.
Quick Lamannia question here as I'm actually working on the items here in our NPC. Where do I get the time runes from?
Oh, that was...
Because I tried looking it up in our kind of item database, and it's time runes is not their name, so...
This time... Oh, yeah.
Do you know?
Oh, I forgot to not name them that. That's okay. So, short answer is don't worry about that barter box. That barter box was there as a complete mistake. You just buy them from the shop. The Update 40 item shop should be platinum on the ground. Buy them there. Long answer is DDO, when it's building a release client, or any client, if an asset isn't held somewhere in the world, it will not get loaded into data. So one of the most common errors we get is out-of-data errors, and we can alleviate that by anchoring an item somewhere in the world. So oftentimes one of the first things that designers do when they're making loot is they make a chest, make the treasure tables, put those items in the treasure tables, or in my case, I made the barter box and put them in there, and then I was like, I need an NPC to stick these on, because she doesn't have a dev name, but
okay,
is
so then
working
how
on the
do
NPC.
I, just to stop you though, because how do I actually get these items then from the window?
Do you close the barter shop window and just open the store? There should be like an Update 40 item store, like a platinum shop.
You mean in the DDO store?
No, in the Loot Guy 1. There should be...
I see Festival Collector, holder of newer loot.
Yeah, that guy.
All right.
His name is Loot Guy 1 on our end.
And it says legendary items and Sentinels loot, raid runes, barter box, new Night Revel stuff, and I need platinum to get gear.
Yeah, first option.
Okay.
Legendary items, and then that should be...
Ah, here we go. Okay, excellent.
Yeah, so TLDR of that explanation that kind of got away from me is I stuck that barter box on that NPC while the other real NPC was busy. And I forgot to take it out.
So because I know some folks are also, really into cosmetics and that, did you try to thematically match them to, say, the items?
Like visual-wise?
Yeah.
They actually, we have completely new assets for every single weapon coming out in this update. And some of them have new visual effects as well as just new assets. But these are completely new. Some of them are visually matched to their original, like the Chaos Bow, which is 2 Chaos Blades taped together, looks a lot like 2 Chaos Blades taped together, which was rather intentional. But the Staff of Irion, which was a variant of the Star of Irion, a Morning Star, that was just a completely new quarterstaff that artist was like, what do you want it to look like? And I'm like, I don't know, the holy quarterstaff thing.
Cool.
And it came out great, so...
Nice. And the other thing, just because my character has not been created with armor yet, I'm wearing the new Night Revels cosmetic here. It's the Reaper plate that you've seen in previous ones. This time around is green, which is very cool, and it does come with a matching helmet here as well. So that'll be coming to the new Night Revels, and we'll actually talk a little bit about Night Revels stuff here in the future. Okay, so what else do players need to know about this loot? It's really... kind of updated versions of famous items. It is legendary, so they're all level 29. And there's the method by which you acquire them is by collecting raid runes when it comes time for the raid to come out, so there's not really a crafting system or anything associated with it.
No, there is one exception, or a set of exceptions to this, in that it's a raid, it's a legendary raid, so play the raid, get lucky in the chest roll, or if not, or you have raid runes to compensate. If you really need something, you can do it repeatedly. But there are also some new raid level items that are coming out with this update that aren't necessarily dropped directly from the raid for a variety of interesting reasons. And the acquisition method for those has been sort of fleshed out in a public-facing way, but their acquisition method is going to be a little bit different than the other raid items. I can say though that since these I'm talking about the ones that are in the raid loot post. You had the raid weapons, the raid armors, the raid accessories, and then you had other weapons at the bottom. So I'm talking about the other weapons. Those it's an upgrade path that you're going to have to interact with, and the details of those have not been made public yet, but it is a safe bet that if you would like upgraded Black Razor, you're going to need an original Black Razor.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Nice, nice. Now, you've also done, so we're talking mostly right now about the raid loot, but you have done some other loot work for Update 40 besides even the new Night Revel stuff. We have new Sentinels of Stormreach items where we've kind of redid that stuff a little bit as well.
Yes. Yeah, it's the same as the other loot revamps. If you have current upgrades, current items, you're going to have to reacquire them. There's a little bit of a weird twist with the Sentinel stuff. The items, like the worn and unsuppressed versions of those items, the ones that you have to use the sigils to upgrade, those no longer drop. If you currently have them in the sigils, you can continue to upgrade them to the real items, and you'll get the new versions of those as well. But where you would find, like, a Shattered Winter's Wrath, you would just find Winter's Wrath now. Also, sigils no longer drop in any form. So that means it's a lot easier to loot certain chests without having to spam the, yes, I would like to grab that bound to character item. You can clean out 3 slots from your green bag. But as a whole, since those items are technically part of another crafting system, the seal scroll shard stuff, there's not really a need to force players to go find 3 things to go get their thing. Just give them the wand at this point. And those quests really do stand up, and I really hope that people enjoy the new loot. But all I really did was just poke at the numbers a little bit. Nothing lost in effect. None of the special cool stuff was changed. The Dragon Mark helmet still cares about Dragon Mark. The Monk bracers still do the Monk thing. But it was just you know, cleaning up a whole bunch of old stuff, cleaning some old code out, and, you know, just kind of smoothing out that area of the game, so it's not as punitive for new or otherwise inexperienced in that area players.
Now, I know, like, I used to have a character that was based on dual-wielding these Midnight Greetings way back in the day when Assassin first came out. And so it's actually kind of nice because they do an entropic, which is untyped damage that they didn't do previously in addition to their other effects. So it's not just a one-to-one. Some items have been improved for kind of the current state of the game, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, it's a lot. It's a little strange to talk about design in such abstracts, but yeah, we would like to try and keep named items all within relative effect parity in terms of volume. But yeah, it's these items should just be better than they once were, and if you happen to find the new ones, then hopefully they'll fit into your gear set. Yeah.
All right, and like I say, I kind of want to avoid spoilers on the raid itself, not only because it's not available in this Lamannia preview, but because people tend to be a little sensitive, rightly so, on our live stream here to not have things spoiled too much for them. Anything else you want to add before I let you get some lunch?
I had a lot of fun putting together these items, and I think that players really enjoy them. If you guys have any constructive feedback or suggestions, there are a few items I'm a little kind of iffy on, but if you have any cool suggestions, I'm always super happy to hear them. I did want to make a quick point, though, if I could, because one of the major points of contention for the current raid loot is the expressed desire for expanded critical threat and multipliers on our current endgame weapons. And we're trying to push away from non-standard crit profiles for a variety of balance reasons, mostly because it just pushes the overall power level up without really giving anything. Like, it interacts disproportionately with on-crit effects. It's just kind of weird, but rather than just not doing it anymore, mathematically, the loaded dice present in Ravenloft onwards do more than make up for a standard crit profile. I did post a whole bunch of my back of napkin math in order to talk about that, but we're like, the Staff of Shadows, honestly, my kind of inclination is that maybe it's just a little too strong. It's the first time we've done expanded multiplier with the loaded dice, and I was doing the math to try and be like, yeah, this is better than Elemental Bloom, and I'm like, this is really scary.
There's a joke sometimes that we make where when people are really quiet about saying either how much they really like the new raid loot or don't give us much feedback on it, it's because it's way OP and nobody wants to tell us. But,
no, there was such a, like, people were not as happy with Wave and Black Razor as I kind of felt that those weapons deserved. But the fact that people aren't talking about New Wave makes me want to go back and panic nerf it. Like, I'm terrified. I've had one person that went, "This looks neat," and there's silence, and I'm like, "Oh God, it's broken horribly. Oh, what do I do?" Like, I'm gonna start just taking stuff out.
Nice, nice.
But I really hope people enjoy it, and from what I've seen of the raid, I just really want those. I want those weapons and items to be just cool enough that people are really gonna want to learn the raid well, because I think Torque has something really special for you guys planned.
Yep.
Like it's really cool from what I've seen. It's very, very, very cool. But you know, I'm just hoping that the raid lives up to the hype of the raid.
Yeah, and someone had said in chat, so we're talking legendary chronoscope? No, we are not.
We're talking maybe some
little yeah.
We're talking about a lot of things.
Nice, but you will actually, if you want to. It looks like we have to work on that orb here a little bit. It's not quite done yet. So yes, this is our first preview on Lamannia. So not everything is 100%, in place yet, but I am showing off some of the items that I can.
Oh, the wave, the sphere, the orb,
Yeah.
is missing one of the shared scripts that makes it an equipment, and therefore has dropped its minimum level and all of its ability to compete.
Well, it's
stats
also,
of the player.
it's animation-wise, it needs to be moved into the palm.
Yeah.
But that's all the stuff we're going to work on here as we get things ready for release.
It's one of those things where you wouldn't think that the bug does cause what it does, but it's like, oh, it's missing the shared script, and as a consequence, DDO goes, where should I put this on the player? Probably
Nice.
their face. That makes sense. What's, I don't know what's going on. Delete everything. So.
Is there a forum post for these items yet? Yes. As a matter of fact, the reason I'm having Linabelle on here, other than just to spread the cool news with y'all, is because we do have a thread where we do want to get feedback. So if you want to take a look at the current state of, say, the numbers of the stats and such like that for our updated raid loot, you can do that. It's on the Lamannia forums, and we'd love to see you take a look at that stuff and get us some pretty cool feedback on it.
Yeah, I'm always super down for mixing stuff up, and like if players there's a clear directive that isn't just make it 15 times 45. Like I'm gonna exercise some choice, so you can't just overpower me. But if players want something, I have absolutely no problem mixing stuff around. Like, give me suggestions. I love suggestions. Suggestions are my favorite type of feedback to read. So like just. I inexplicably ended up with a lot of time to fix things this update, which is worrying. It means I forgot something.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm good. It's.
I actually have a bit of an off-topic question. This one comes from Facebook. This person, Enzo, wants to know if we have any plans to fix mechanic alchemical traps and/or match them to be more competitive to epic and legendary content. Is that something that you've thought about at all?
Never once in my entire life.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. I have a wonderful plan that I'm going to announce now, so you guys can yell at me that it's not. It's wonderful.
Nice.
This is brilliant. It comes along with my new pole vaulting universal tree in order to fix some of the power gap between quarterstaff and Anyway, so this is completely unrelated to pole vaulting, but. What if there were like a poisoner assassin tree, you know what I mean? And then like take the poison stuff out of assassin, take the trap stuff out of mechanic, and then basically I just want to give them a gun. Is kind of how it just shoots.
Nice.
It shoots poison.
But the answer is, I guess the answer is then no. It's not something that's on our short-term agenda here. I think we understand that feedback that these traps don't necessarily scale into legendary content, although they were made and designed for a lower level than that. So I'm not sure that.
You're not talking about the trap. I just understood what this guy's talking about. He's talking about the actual craftable traps, like the Trapsmith's Workshop, not the trap SLAs like the Tanglefoot stuff that comes out of the mechanic tree. Okay, we actually have no plans on changing those.
Yeah.
But if it's something like super easy, like they seem obviously broken, I can take a look.
Yeah.
But the device workstation and everything that it does is like just another worse Stone of Change. We have like 5 or 6 Stone of Changes. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's something we'd have to take a look at here in the future. I think it would be a more comprehensive look at that crafting workstation.
I wouldn't want to go in and just start messing with. It would be a whole big thing. I'm not saying we won't do that, but it would have to be a chunk of time, and we'd involve the players' council and stuff like that, and it would be a thing. But
all right, awesome, Linabelle. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Now feel free to go and get some lunch.
Always love to hear myself talk.
Thank you so much. I appreciate her being here. And well, I'm showing off some new armor.
Forgot my car keys.
This is the Mail of the Moranin. Show off the new bow. That's in the raid loot there. Looks pretty nice. Here's the bastard sword. We've seen this this particular sword elsewhere in terms of the look, but it's still pretty cool. This is another set of the armor. This one is the heavy armor, the null scale armor. Let's see. This one is the Wind Howler mask. Now this one I've actually seen, I believe, is this based on the... Oh no, the icon shows the scary mask, but I don't think that's not what we're seeing on the character here, so... We'll have to see if that's, I'll have to look up, see what the deal is with that, so. I'm not even sure what that is. It's not working, whatever it is. Okay, the other piece, of course, I showed this off, I believe, last week on the live stream, but just for those who might have missed it, we do indeed have cloaks coming here in Update 40. This one actually just kind of coincidentally matches pretty nicely with the armor that's being worn. And so, for those who missed last week's stream, the way that's going to work is that it'll be on both random loot and named loot. Existing random loot that you have in your inventory when Update 40 goes live is not going to get a cloak property. However, all new random cloaks you find will indeed have a cloak look on them. And then named loot will also have a nice look. You'll be able to toggle it on and off with a command. I don't know if it's in this one spilled or not. Yep, show cloak on and show cloak off for those who want to toggle it on and off, for example. And then there is also a cosmetic slot, similar to the way armor and helms work, so that if you want to change the look of your cloak that you have equipped, you can actually overwrite that look with a specific cosmetic that's there as well. This one is Long Razor here. And then the Brilliant Crescent. Pretty cool looking item as well. Alright, let me take a look at chat. I'm actually going to adjust my monitor now that Linabelle is not needing to use it, so that way I can actually keep my chat window off on the side. Make it a little easier to see what everyone is saying. In just a second here, I'm going to actually show off a little bit of the Wood Elves, so you can see the current state of them on Lamannia. Cosmetic headgear not showing up in the Wood Elf. You know, this is a first preview and obviously not a complete preview. My guess is that's just something we'll work on for the next preview, or certainly before Update 40 goes live. Because I know that Tolero is across the room here doing some actual kind of screenshotting work for kind of marketing screenshots for Update 40 and that, I have a question. Yeah, spoilers, right? But, you know, clearly we need to get some nice-looking screenshots for Update 40 coming out, and that's what Tolero's doing over the lunch hour here. From YouTube, any chance we can have +8 Supreme Tome soons? I have a new character that wants some. Yes, we need to bring those +8s back. We have an official request, so yeah, we'll have to take a look at that. So, duly noted, Tolero says. Does the Chaos Bow have the vampire effect? Let me see if I can... No, it's anarchic. It has an elasticity property, so when you roll a 19 or 20, the crit multiplier is increased by 1. Improved destruction, 25% ranged alacrity, and then a red and orange augment slot. I've been breaking for tapestries and rugs in game and thinking, oh, that would make a nice cloak. Yeah, we have a lot of cloaks actually that are being worked on. I don't even know what the final number of different looks are, but there's quite a few. It's heard it was thousands.
Well, because it's
Yeah.
a combination. I know you guys probably can't hear me.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a combination of both hand like specific drawn ones for
Yep.
certain named ones. We also created a lot of combinatory cloaks. So
Okay.
it's like this color plus this pattern plus this trim could combine, and there's like thousands
Okay.
of combinations of that.
So the answer of how many unique cloaks is in the range of probably thousands. We do have unique looking cloaks, you know, for named armors and things like that. But there's also kind of a system that can assign various, you know, patterns and styles to it, so you can have a large number of combinations of things there. So I should show the awesome caster staff. It has rings. Where is that caster staff? I don't think I've got it here.
All I know is I want the feather cloak because it looks like feathers.
Yeah, the feather cloak does look like feathers. Yeah, actually, that's a... You know, let me actually show that one off here. Using one of the tools I have. Just to kind of show you just how varied our cloaks can look here. Yeah, it's kind of a feathery cloak, which I guess makes sense. So, all right, trying to get a look at chat. Oh, someone wants me to do Spite the Fractured Shards. Let me look that one up. Now, I'm not quite sure exactly what it is that you're looking for. I guess you said you're not able to... You were unable to buy any thrown weapon? I'm not quite sure how that relates to this, but nonetheless, I'll show it off for you real quick. Oops. Sorry, I'm detached camera here. Alright, that's that. And if you want to see the properties on it, there you go. Now this is actually a Ravenloft item, so my understanding is this, you know, is already available in game as well. Is character copy going to work to Lamannia next week? Yeah, it'll probably work for our next preview. There's just some kind of techie reasons why, unfortunately, character copy to Lamannia didn't work for this particular preview, but we've got people working on it. I don't know about that particular shot on the run bug. I will have to do some more digging. Is that cloak very long, or is it just me? So we do actually have a variance in cloak length. They're kind of built on, I guess what you might call almost a transparency-like thing, so that we can have longer cloaks and shorter cloaks as well. Now, there's not as much variance initially as there probably will be in the future, just because of the need to get out a large number of cloaks. But I have already seen some that are a little bit more kind of waist length, rather than, say, thigh length. And some that go to about your knees or so there. So. Alright, so, Macubre, if there is an issue with this holder of newer loot, and yeah, I've actually seen a little bit of an issue there as well. So yeah, it looks like it's just not quite 100% sorted out yet. But it will be. Let me show the new rune arm, if I can equip it on this character. I don't actually know that I can. Nope, because I gotta be an artificer. Okay. Even on an admin, I have to be an artificer. Okay. That Varguil wing helmet is going to be a new cosmetic helmet. As you can see, it's not really hooked up quite yet. And I don't know... The other one's the Raid Rune starter box. Okay, so I guess that's about all the loot I'm going to show you here. So let me actually back out into character selection, and I'll show you a little bit of the Wood Elf. And I guess I could make an Artificer just so I can show off the Rune arm here in a second. So one quick note is this is not final in terms of the UI placement of the Wood Elf. It doesn't really differentiate that the Wood Elf is a racial variant rather than a regular race, and that's something we're going to be fixing before it goes live here. But nonetheless, you can see facial, the difference in facial look between the Wood Elf here and the regular elf that we've had in game for a very long time. Now, statistically, there's also a difference with Wood Elves as well, where they start with a higher dexterity and a lower intelligence. They do not have a constitution penalty. So, a whole bunch of folks who, you know, have liked elves but not really wanted to take that con penalty over the years might be quite thrilled to hear that Wood Elves are going to be available, because it is going to give you an additional option. Now, in terms of racial past lives, it's going to count toward your elven past life. So whether you play a Wood Elf or a regular elf, you'll be able to get that elven past life. And additionally, there's some differences in the racial tree, enhancement tree, but not, it's about 30% different. The dragon mark has been replaced with a bunch of different things, and there are some other things that you can actually see if you look at the Lamannia release notes. But it's not a pure new tree, it's kind of a hybrid of the regular elven tree with some changes to it. Alright, now let me cycle through some looks here in just a second. It doesn't really matter what I'm taking, because this is a admin. So in terms of if you're like, why are you putting all your points in strength? It's because it doesn't matter. Alright, here we go. So as you can see, they do have, you know, some typical skin and lip color variations. They do have facial detail regarding rings. And you can see this one's actually, I believe, a little bit different, right? On the earrings there. It looks like we don't really have all of our kind of lips hooked up here yet. And quite a few different noses available. Of course, you know, elven eye colors as you would expect. They do have some eye variants that is a little bit different from what you would see on typical character generation. And as you can, just kind of, you know, I'm trying not to get qualitative here, but I would say that, you know, it's a more natural look than, say, maybe the traditional elven look that we've had in DDO. They have both the traditional hairstyles, and I thought they had a couple unique ones, but let me double check on that. I don't know if it's here yet. Yeah, we have a couple. This one is obviously not set color-wise yet. It's not properly dye mapped, but it is available to see. This is one. Kind of a braid. A combat braid, as it were. This one's maybe a little more, almost like Shatter Kai-ish. Kind of a shaved on the side, flopped over look. Yep, and then it looks like we go, that's what we have available right now. So, when we move into the more traditional hairstyles that DDO's long had. Alright. Yeah, I'm digging that new look as well. I think I'm gonna, for the purposes of this character, swap over. There we go. Alright, so, let me just kind of show 40 arty. Bad for peripheral vision. Well, no, it's you know, away from the eyes. So yeah, as you were pointing out, there is at least one other hairstyle I know of that I'm not seeing in CareGen. So it looks like, you know, this is a first preview, not a final preview. So, someone's saying, Wood Elf, is this, you know, a different game? No, Wood Elves are part of D&D. So. Oh, I'm level 1. Yeah, okay. Oh, let's see the dances then. Should I spoil the dances? I mean, that is kind of... It's kind of spoilerific here. I don't know. I don't know if I feel comfortable doing that. Do male Wood Elves? Yeah, we'll actually switch over to a male here. Actually, let me move to a different class, so I don't have the goggles on here. You can see the male look a little bit better that way. Alright, let me actually mute the mic real quick. I was just conferring with Tolero a little bit on the dance question. I don't feel comfortable doing the dances, I'm sorry. You can go to Lamannia and see them if you want to, but I did say this was a spoiler light broadcast, and so I'm a little hesitant to go into that. Alright, so yep, you can see they do have their own kind of unique hairstyles for the males as well. Kind of a brushed back thing. They too have the, I don't even know what you want to call it, razor side look. This is kind of the male version of the braided top. And then, you know, bald. So. Alright, let me do some random faces here just so you can kind of see a mix of different looks that you can have. I'm going to swap some of the noses here. Facial details, you can kind of age them a little bit, as it were. Looks to be predominantly what we have for facial detail at the moment. Some of the different eyes that are available. Kind of like that one. Give him a little bit of a, I don't know, I guess what you might call a somewhat traditional elven eyebrows. You know, the kind of want to call it. We head over to chat, see what we got here on YouTube. Undercut. Thank you, Snow White Fox. See, I knew someone in chat who was more up with what the kids are into would know than me. See, I tried not to say that word, Snow White Fox. You're not wrong, but I was trying to avoid saying that. Why can't the females get that look as well, not just braided? That's something that I can pass along to the team. Now, you're specifically looking at the one that I've got on my character here right now, which is kind of like a shaven on the sides, almost like a mohawkish looking thing. Dan Teal, it's not elven hair gel, it's elven magic. All right, and let me quick head to Facebook. So yes, for someone is asking what it is we're seeing, this is our Lamannia public preview server. You do have to download a separate game client for it, and it's a server that we open to the public for a couple days at a time, and it allows you to take a sneak peek of what's upcoming and then provide feedback if you would be willing regarding it. So it's something we use to kind of help us get these updates into shape, and then people get a chance to kind of see this sort of thing as well. All right, and let me log in on this character. Show a few kind of things with the Wood Elf. Wood Elf is going to be free to VIP, and it is going to be available in the DDO store for other folks. If you do want to take a look at the release notes, we do have... They're not 100% complete release notes for Update 40. In particular, we don't have info on the raid and some other changes that'll be happening, before Update 40 is released. However, we're, along that path. So it's a pretty good sense of, in general, what to expect with Update 40. Update 40 is largely going to be the Night Revels event, in addition to the new raid, Wood Elves, and Cloaks, along with some systems changes. Should be some pretty good stuff, and we'll have more information about what's coming after Update 40 as we get a little bit closer to it. Going to take a couple levels of Artificer here just so that I can show you that new rune arm, because yes, I want to show you that new rune arm. Because it's cool. It'll be just a second while I get this character leveled up enough to wield that rune arm. I think should be good enough for now. There is also a bunch of other Lamannia public preview threads, so we would appreciate any kind of feedback you can give, particularly if you get the opportunity to actually run this stuff on Lamannia. It's always nice to get feedback based on what people actually see. Okay, it looks like I gotta be... Give myself a few more arty levels before I can wield this thing. While I'm leveling up, let me see if I can get any more questions answered. What might we do for other racial variants in the future is not something that we can really talk about right now, but, you know, if you guys like them and everything works out well for them, I would imagine that's something we would consider for the future, to do additional kind of racial variants. Someone's saying, we really need Durgar? Yeah, that's come up, you know, as kind of a obvious choice for someday. A couple more levels here and I should be good to go. There we go. There we go with the rune arm. Pretty cool looking. Now, I think it's actually a little on the large side. I think we're going to scale it down just a little bit so it's not quite so large on the arm there, but you can kind of get a good sense of what the animation's going to look like with the nice kind of spiky look to it. I'll charge it up and shoot it for you as well. Pretty cool. Leave it large? Okay. No, I could pass that feedback along. Let me actually just try to get some other loot so I can show off a few more cloaks here while we can. Don't scale at all. It's beautiful. Okay. Well, hey, it sounds like folks would appreciate us to do that. So, all right. We shall see. It does look like this vendor's got some... Oh, no, here it is. Just took a while to populate. Trying to find, here we go, there's a Mantle of Fury, the Silver Thread Cloak. That should get me started there. Will that be a blast effect that can break down doors and barriers? I'm not sure on that. It is a... I mean, as you can see, it was kind of a straight shot one rather than one that curves around. I imagine it would do something similar to what other rune arms with a similar effect would. It does have Ghostly and Disrupting on it. Negative energy absorption, light spell power at level 10 even. That's not bad. Does evil damage and does add 1d4 evil damage to your stiff. Okay, so another cloak. Doesn't really match with this particular outfit, but that's okay. That is a good question about the Warlock having to switch weapons to get doors. I myself have actually run into that, so I don't know. I mean, it hasn't been adjusted, so I'm guessing maybe, but it is a little bit of an annoyance, is it not? Oh, this is one new. You gain a benefits code. Awesome. Oh, and I think the carnival loot actually has a cloak in it as well. Does it not? Yeah, the Fjarlan Mirror Cloak. Fjarlan Mirror Cloak, okay. That's kind of a traditional looking silvery sort of deal. The blast breaks crates and stuff, yep. I don't think it does doors though. You carry a wand of fireballs on your warlocks? Ooh, that is a smart idea. Very nice. I will have to think about that. It's not a bad idea at all. I'm just trying to see if I can grab myself any more. Cloaks that I could maybe try on here. I'm not really seeing any in my inventory. Alright, well, we're getting pretty close to being done with the live stream here as well. Cloak of the Night looks really... Oh, yeah, yeah. I can actually just create that one. Let me do that one quick. Now, as you saw, if you were taking a look at our social media, we do have a cloak with Night Revels here coming, but that's not in yet. And I'm actually going to just real quick random gen spawn some cloaks. So there's stuff. Oops. How about I do that correctly? There we go. Not all of them are hooked up yet. Unfortunately, that one looks like this particular cloak is not displaying for me. No. Okay. Try a different cloak. I'm just kind of trying to pull some random cloaks, but unfortunately I'm striking out on ones that actually are working. Alright, well, I guess that'll actually... Let me see. I'll take any requests if you got any last-minute cloaks you want to take a look at. Oh yeah, the new hub for Night Revels. That's a great idea. Let me actually do that real quick. Now that I have a few minutes left, I can show you a little bit about what will be going on in the new Night Revels. And I'm not going to spoil grave work, just because I know some folks don't want it to be spoiled, and that sounds fine to me. I will show you the quick entrance to it before we call it a show. Alright, so when Delara's, when Night Revels is active, you will see the entrance to Delara's like you normally would. The trader's still there like always. And when you click on the dialogue here, you'll see a chance to go into the regular Delara's graveyard, the Night Revels graveyard, or the crypt. And the crypt is going to be the new kind of public area that you can just access the quests from. It's a little bit of a tavern space. You can see all the quests are just sitting there as gates, so you won't have to go and actually sort of go into the Night Revels area. Now, I'm not high enough level at this character to be able to run this particular one, which is fine because I didn't want to spoil it anyway. I could change characters real quick if I want to. And then to get back into, well, actually, that's going to be the new Spectral Dragon Raid, which is not yet available either for preview, but will be coming in a future Lamannia preview. And then when you click on the exit to the tavern space here, you'll be able to just kind of go straight into Night Revels again, Delara's Graveyard, or House Jarasco as you wish. I'm going to go into the Night Revels. This is what was the public instance space and is now a private party-based instance space. Scales from level 1 to 35. So if you recall, the old one was level banded from like, 1 to 4, 5 to 8, 9 to 12, 13 to 16, etc., etc. This is going to be a little more granular. We're using our more recent challenge tech. And otherwise, it in many ways stays the same in terms of what you actually do in Delara's Graveyard. Now, there is a little bit of, just for kind of space reasons, where you defeat groups to unlock the next section. You'll see kind of like a mist effect here. See how there's a mist? So in this area, you kill a certain number of mobs, and you can progress further into the Delara's Graveyard area. You'll see we do have a few new monsters as well. Okay, again, that is monster free. Will all spells work? Yeah, I believe so. I believe spells should work just as if you were inside of a dungeon. Because this is a private instance space, it allows us to do that. So, I might have caused a problem here by using my cheaty admin things. But I'm not seeing those last... Oh, here we go. Alright, so once you complete one section, then you can go on to the next section of Delara's Graveyard, as you can see. And then you're faced with basically the next gate onward. Kill some mobs there, and you'll be able to progress further on into Delara's Graveyard, etc., etc. Now you can recall out, at any time like you would any kind of dungeon in that. And it's really just going to work like a typical dungeon space. Dungeon challenge space, rather. And then just real quick, before I call it, I'm going to just real quick show you the start of grave work here, because I know some folks had wanted to see that. So let me move on to a character that's appropriate level to be able to enter that. Are the types of mobs different at different levels? I believe so. Maybe if I learned how to spell it. Okay, there we go. I don't think that, you know, timing is going to be particularly adjusted. So you'll be able to kill things quickly and move on to the next space, especially if you're in a group.
The dark of eternal night has drawn its cloak over Dalara's graveyard. Attend the night revels, if you dare.
Okay. So like I say, our Spectral Dragon fight is not going on this preview here, but Gravework is. Gravework, as you might imagine, is a Night Revelified version of Framework, and I'm going to largely avoid spoilers here by not really going into it very much, but I did want to show you just a little bit of what to expect. So, our good friend Doris is back, and we've Night Revelified. Oops. Dalara's, or Framework rather. Minotaur Village. Like I say, in particular, if you know Framework, you know that the story kind of matters on this one. And some of the options that you can do to do various things are kind of a significant part of the experience. So I don't really want to spoil any of that. So I'm just going to kind of leave it at this and call it a live stream. Thank you very much for being here on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. I really do appreciate it. If you'll give us a follow on Twitch, you'll be notified for when we go live with shows just like this one. Subscribe to our videos on YouTube, and you'll get them in your subscription feed. And like us on Facebook, not just for our live videos, but also sales information, bonuses, and a whole bunch of other good things. I will see you next week. I will most likely be on Sarlona, just running higher level quests with a group. So if you want to join me next week, I'll look forward to it. Otherwise, you can find our full schedule over on twitch.tv/DDO Stream. Samus Garobo is up next. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll talk to you again soon.